check if it's live. Had some technical difficulties setting up, but should be good now. If it yeah, I think we're good. We're good. Yeah. So welcome to Formula One again. We're here for season 18, round 8 at the Lusail International Racing Circuit in Qatar. And we're just a few minutes from qualifying actually, so joined just in time. We don't have a long time, so I'm just going to straight jump in how we're looking in the championship, because the championship is looking juicy for these last 3 rounds. Font has 27 points in the lead in the Drive Championship, but with the run that Sabi has been showing, beating Font in the last 3 races, the championship fight is really going on it. Helenen will be looking to break the streak of Miss Virgin and make up the podium again. Presimo has had a decent run, but he needs to keep on it if he wants to stay in third, because behind him Shesh is being really fast, having won at Singapore by a big gap, and she will look to continue on with that. I can't go over everyone, sadly. Actually want to see if the Mercedes. No, still no Mercedes. So yeah, the ones to watch will be Font, Sabi, Helena, and Prasimo, Shesh. Sorry. AJ, Chris, Cassell are also to look out for. Ben will be trying to go for points again. Naked Champ did pretty well last round. But he DNF'd sadly. And I haven't seen the call yet, so we have time to go over to the Teams Championship. Sorry, this is also hasted. I just want to get this out of the way before we head in for qualifying, because Qatar qualifying can be everything, because turn 1, sector 1 basically is going to be chaos. So you want to be as far ahead as you possibly can. Ferrari is still in the lead of the championship, but just by a meagerly 21 points. Sabi and Mighty Chump are really working to bring that gap down. Behind them, it's really close between Red Bull and Williams. Red Bull having 77 points with consistent points finishes of both Jenica and T-Pop. But Helenen and Trucco, especially Helenen, are trying to get up to the Red Bulls. Aston Martin, especially with thanks to the consistency of Shesh, a 4th, a 3rd, and a 1st positions brings Aston Martin on 5th place. Racing Bulls again, looking pretty good, with Cassell slipping off lately, but hopefully he can find his form again. And Prasimo has shown nothing but good results recently. They are actually tied with Aston Martin, so it will be fun to see how that points out. Naked Champ and Epmo not having the best track record, but they can set that straight for Haas. Arctic Squirrel and Titchy Boom, normally the most consistent drivers on the grid, kind of lacking in it. And at the back of the field, it's literally about, can Alpine get 23 points before the end of the season, because at this rate Mercedes won't race again. And it will be a shame if 3 points finishes is enough for Mercedes to secure third against a team one of which drivers has attended every race. Which can only be said for five drivers. Those drivers being Fontanau, Chris, Epmo, Tichiboom, and AJ. And of those, Fontanau, Epmo, and AJ are the only ones who have finished in every race. Arctic has 2 DNFs, and Chris has a DNF and a disqualification. Now, we should be having gotten the signal to go by now, but... Oh, we're waiting on Arctic. No, we're literally waiting on Arctic. Okay, that means I actually had way more time than I thought I would. I'm sorry for the hasty approach to everything. And because I had to hurry myself, I have nothing left to say. Correct. For top 3, maybe. Let's see, what's everyone been saying? Font says that this may be a hard one for him, but he also said that about... Sorry. He also said that about... Let's see, what race was it that he said that about? He said that about Jeddah, and he still got third in that, so... Will be interesting to see what that goes to now, as Arctic says he's joining, but... Hopefully it will work for him. But for top 3, yeah, I want to say Sabi, Font, and Shish again. Those 3 have just been the most consistent of them all. I think, did Arctic join for second? He did join for second, but don't know if he left again or if his game crashed. So, with all the technical difficulties going on right now, I hope the server can stay together. There's Arctic now. He just needs to select the McLaren, and I think we can go. Helen is typing, so it's... Yeah, ready up. Okay. So the quick top 3 for me is going to be Shish, Font, Sabi. Do I dare put 4th and 5th behind that? Yeah, Jenica and... I think Jenica will get 4th, and I think Rasamu will get 5th. So, Shish, Font, Sabi, Jenica, Rasamu. That's my top 5. Oh, I love seeing the old pits lane. Oh, I wish they kept it. I don't know why, I love long pit lanes. I love Silverstone. I love the pit lane of Abu Dhabi because you go under the track. What track does that? Spa, old pit lane, amazing. But Qatar may as well give some practical info about the Lusail International Circuit. Lusail International Circuit is originally made for MotoGP as we go to qualifying, and as such, it's not entirely made for these cars, but Formula One cars should be able to do well on it, and most of them do. So it will be nice to see what we can do. As I think I heard a car. Looks like Kit is the first one out. Yes. And I may actually need detail no, telemetry no, lap data and track map. There we go. So as Kit goes on their out lap, first race on the wheel for them, they made a debut last race and they were really fast in qualifying. So I'll be interested to see what they can do. But Lusail, lot of sweeping turns. You can see the layout isn't your typical F1 circuit. Again, it's made for MotoGP. In real life, the conditions are really harsh to race in. Comparable to the Singapore Grand Prix. I think in the last couple of years, drivers actually got out of the cockpit sick. And there were also special tire rules a couple of years back because the tire wear is so harsh here. It's a combination of Singapore with the driver conditions and Bahrain with the high tire wear. But we'll see what Kit can do as they start their flying lap. Their teammate is out of the pit lane ahead of them, but I don't think there will be that much pain with traffic. So that's a good thing, as there are now quite some more cars on the track. Hopefully everyone can leave space, as that's not the normal line you take to 1 and 2. Sabi did get out of the way for Kit, so that's good showing from the teammates there. As Kit is finishing up sector 1, 2 90-degree turns across the sector line. There is a bit of a runoff here for a long lap penalty. I think it's in MotoGP. Don't know exactly how it works, but you can run a bit wide there. There will be grip. So that's good, especially at the start of the race, as that's a corner cut. Still finish the lap on board with Kit. Just to get a feel of how the circuit works. This is a tricky one because you have 3 fast kinks after another. You really don't want to lose too much time here. Then another kink on right into the final corner next to the old pit lane. Final corner, you want to be fast out of there, but it's a one that tests your patience, and that's the end of the lap. So we'll be looking at Chris next. Chris sets the benchmark with 1:22.9. Then we have, I think, Epmo. Epmo does not go below that. Razimu goes slightly slower than that. Then we have a Red Bull. No, it's Cassell. Then we have a Red Bull. Cassell goes faster. Steepop goes a little bit slower than him. As we have Janica, who goes really close. Then I think that's Fontenau. Fontenau across the line, but that was an outlap. Then we have Sabi starting a lap. Ben goes almost 3 seconds slower, so that wasn't a good lap time. Elenan across the line, a 1:24.9, but that lap didn't count. Then we have one of the McLarens. Oh, that's actually only Arctic. Arctic now starts his lap. And we're back where we started. Kit's lap this time is valid, so that's a good thing to see. Going through the final corner now. What's the lap time going to be like? I doubt this will be a fast one. It indeed will not. It's a 1:26.0 and that's 3.5 seconds slower. Not what you want to see. Aston Martin goes into the pit lane. That's Chris. Let's see who's going to be. Who sets his time? Sabi. Actually, I think Font, but now Font has invalidated, so Font's lap time will not count. So then we will be looking at Sabi. But Sabi's lap time also has been invalidated. So there are a lot of yellow flags. Both of them go for another flying lap immediately after. Helenen is at the end of his flying lap, coming now towards the line. It's looking like a 1:26 also. Really slow. Ben is now into the pit lane. Yep, Ben is into the pit lane. Arctic is now across the line for a P7. I've noticed this in Singapore as well. People are doing practice laps in qualifying. Nothing wrong with that. You can afford to do it, obviously. Would I do it? No. But I'm not racing anymore. These guys are, so there's nothing telling them they can do that. And I think Kit has run out of fuel. They're going really slow. But they do pull into pit lane. Oh no, it was just a small issue. There is I could resolve the connection easily. Luckily, no verification code needed as Font goes 5th fastest. What can Sabi behind them do? Sabi really slow. Wow, 4.3 seconds slower. Not what I'm used to from him. As Helenen goes faster, he goes to P4. Really nice time. Arctic is probably going into the pit lane. Yes, they are. Then we have AJ behind him. AJ is on an outlap. Ben just exited the pit lane. Then we have Chris. Chris is on an outlap. Then we have a Racing Boost. That's Prasmu is on an outlap. Then we have a Red Bull. T-Pop is on an outlap. Then we have an Haas. Atmo is on an outlap. And then we have Sabi, who's pushing again. So Sabi is the first one who will cross the line again to set a lap time. And he's going fastest through sector 2. So that's a good thing to see from him. Are those mediums? No, those softs. Thank God. I thought he was going on mediums. Imagine being fastest on mediums. As he now comes across the line. And that was a very weird, if not illegal move. He was going fastest and he decides to just pull into the pits suddenly. Again, not something you're allowed to do. But, you know, hell if I can say something about it. As Atmo goes now fastest in Sector 1. Really neat and clean. But first we're going to look at what AJ can do. AJ pulls into the pit lane. Then we have Ben. Ben is on an outlap, so this wouldn't count anyway. Then we have Cassell. Cassell is on an outlap. Prasmu is behind him on a fly-in. He is going faster, so that's also nice to see. Coming across the line, we're looking at a 1:22.9, which is good enough for P4, fastest third sector. As now T-Pop comes across the line. T-Pop goes even faster, 1:22.4. As we have Shiz coming across the line, didn't change anything. Then we have Kit. Kit just started the lap. Then we have Atmo. Atmo jumps to 4th. Then we have Chris. Chris is pulling into the pit. After that we have Champ. And I think this is a flying lap. Yes, it is. Coming towards the line now through the final corner. Bit of traffic gap, but not that it matters. He jumps to P8. And then it's a bit waiting for Ben. 4 tenths faster throughout sector 2. Now heading into, I want to say fast kink. It's still a pretty sharp turn when you approach it. This turn really need to be patient, but not too patient, because it is the final turn before the straight. Across the line, not the improvement he needed. It was an improvement nonetheless, and you can't complain about that, but that was a bit slower than what he would have wanted. Prasmut dives into the pit lane. Depop will dive into the pit lane, yep. Shiz, what is Shiz going to do? Shiz continues on, and that's a 1:22.4 as well, 11 hundredths faster. What can get across the line? Not matching the same pace as they did in Singapore, which is a bit sad to see. Font is on an outlap, no starting. Naked Champ is going to box. Hellenen is on an outlap. Then we have Sabi on an outlap. Behind Sabi is Janica on an outlap. And then we have AJ on an outlap. And then we're back to Font. So a lot of people on outlaps. Yellow flags on start finish straight for some reason. I think it was because of the Red Bull, as Font now goes. Wait, that was not Font, I was looking at the wrong red dot, my apologies for that. The next one coming up is Shish, who is probably going to the pit. Yes, they are. So then it's Sabi, who is 2 seconds faster than they are now. Again, wrong driver, it's Kit, but Kit is going to... yeah. Again, same as Sabi, not the line you're allowed to take. I want to reiterate. Track, pit entry lines, pit exit lines, those are not suggestions. If you go across them, you can and will be penalized for it. Hellenen finishing up a lap, and it looks like a pretty good one. It's a 1:22.1. Fastest of all. Looks like Hellenen has found some form again. Can Sabi respond to this? Sabi goes in the 1:21s. 1:21.930. Really good lap. Now is AJ going through the final corner. AJ didn't have the best of luck, but he may be able to get a good position here. He gets P30 now. There's a lot of spread in the pace as Janica 1:39. That was not a good lap, but he knows that himself. Then we have, where's Chris? There is Chris. On an outlap, he's being followed by Janica. Depop, my apologies, who is also on an outlap, then is Arctic. But I think Arctic, yeah, is on an in-lap, or a cooldown at least. Prasimu is on an outlap, then we have Hellenen again, but Hellenen will be going into pit lane. What's Sabi doing? Sabi might be on a push lap. No, he's going to... No, he's going to slow for it. This AJ is now coming around again. The Rebel behind him, though, is looking rather fast in comparison. So we'll have to see what this lap of AJ is looking like. Or actually not, AJ pulls into the pit lane, which means Jenica is going to finish the lap. 1:22.5. Not the fastest we've seen, but not bad. Shiz is on an outlap. Yeah, Shiz is on an outlap. Lots of traffic ahead and everything. T-Bob went fastest in Sector 3, but there was a big kerfuffle ahead of him with cars slowing down. Then we have, is that Presimu? That's Presimu. 3/10 faster. Which would actually get him a few positions, which looking good. Coming across the line, it's a 1:22.5. That's good enough for P5. He's been followed by his teammates as Jenica went through the gravel. Cassell invalidated on an outlap. Git is on an outlap. Jenica is still taking all the gravel home he can find. Shish is looking fast but also invalid. Font is on an outlap. Ben is on a flying lap. Well, I wouldn't even call it flying. He's a second up on his time. Or down on his time, which isn't what you want to see. He pulls alongside for D-Bob. Where's D-Bob? Here's D-Bob. And D-Bob is going to dive into pit lane. Then we have the Haas of Atmo Naked. Doesn't matter, both are on in-laps. Outlaps. Fontenau also on an outlap. Then we have Aston Martin. That's probably Chris. Chris goes into the pit lane. Then we have Atmo. Atmo is on an outlap. Then we have Presimu. Presimu is on an in-lap most likely. Yes. Then we have Squirrels on an outlap. Cassell is on a flyer. And a flyer that brings him up to P4 with 4:04 time gained. Skid now finishes up the lap. Stays in P15. Not the best lap you can have, but Kid is still getting used to the racing and to the wheels, so we got to give them a little bit of time and space. Shiz is finishing up the lap, but is most likely going to pull into pit lane. No, they continue on, even though the lap is bad. They will be starting a new push lap immediately. And they can, because qualifying isn't over yet. Will it be over for Naked Champ though? It will be. Naked Champ is P8, the highest he will get. Then we have the Ferrari. Font stays in P11. Very disappointing from him. Atmo is going to pull into pit lane. Doesn't see any way to improve. Ben is 5 seconds up on his time. Surprise, surprise. Doesn't improve. And stays down there. Then we have Arctic Scroll is going faster. Will it be fast enough? Stays in P12. And we have Racing Bull. Yeah, they're not going to finish. We have Kit. Kit is going to box this lap. Helenen, what can Helenen do? As there is a bit of a yellow flag situation with pit lane. Helenen comes across the line. Cannot get P1. Cassell is in the pit lane. Shish can steal P1 still. Comes across the line. Jumps to P2. Sabi doesn't need to improve. Sabi will get pole position. So now waiting on everyone to get put into the pit box. So we have Sabi being followed by Shiz, Helen finding some Thorn, getting into P3. T-Pop continues with Red Bull, good results P4. Cassell and Presimu have a third row lockout for Visa Cash App Racing Boost. Janica, the other Red Bull, is in P7 with Naked Champ alongside. Chris and Edmo round up the top 10, and then the big shocker Fontenau in P11. Then further down we have Arctic Scroll, AJ, Gastiban and Kidnami will line up last on the grid. It's a kick sober sandwich. And honestly, there are worse sandwiches in the world. That being said, few seconds to go until the formation lap will start and we can get this race underway. As the game has loaded back in, everyone is loading setups and getting generally ready to push back onto the track. Max didn't join in qualifying, so Alpine will not have a second driver this race, which is kind of sad. So we will just have 15 people driving. Will there also be 15 finishers? I hope so, but there is no guarantee we will. As the formation lap is underway now, I'm just going to quickly get the tires. So we have almost everyone on hards, which isn't surprising because tire wear again is really atrocious on this track. Edmo and AJ are daring to go on the mediums, but I think in any way you cut it, it will be a 2-stop. Either medium, hard, soft, or hard, soft, soft. That's me saying that. I have no idea how the tire strategies on the game work. And I haven't had a pop-up yet. As, again, there is a bit of a gap forming on the formation lap, which isn't really good for the guys in the lead, as their tires will have cooled down a little bit. Unless the game preserves tire temps. Oh no, actually the hard medium is a possibility. Not something I would try though. One of the Red Bulls had spun and is now at the back of the grid. I think that's Janica. As everyone is now approaching the grid slots again. And everyone is preparing to line up. Waiting for race start. As I don't know what Ben was doing, but we're now waiting for Janica to park. Janica has parked. And it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are on. And the lights are out. It's lights out. Away we go. Sabi has got a good start, but Shiz has had a better one. Shiz has got the lead at the start. Pulls into P1. The Racing Boost let each other live side by side. But one of the Hases has spun out. It's Atmo in the pit wall. That's immediately a broken front wing. Ben has gotten a few positions. Fontenau has gotten a few positions. Janica has heavily dropped. Depop is losing fighting. Ooh, really close. There's a lockup from Cassell there. As the McLaren and the Rebel are going side by side through the sector here. Arctic really doesn't want to give it the position, but he's now under threat from Janica as well. And going on the mediums hasn't worked out for AJ and Abmo. Both of them are at the bottom of the grid, but the top three has had a pretty good start, with Shiz now still in the lead and Sabi still trailing behind. That was an absolute mega start from the German driver, who is going to look to get herself a second win in a row. Cassell is being protected by his teammate from Fontenau. Fontenau has made an incredible start to get back up here in 6th, and it will keep his championship hopes alive a bit longer as Ben is attacking Arctic. Arctic has to give that position up. There's actually a bit of damage on the McLaren. There is. He's missing an end plate, which is not good on a downforce heavy circuit like this, and it explains why Ben was able to make that pass so easily, as Atmo is in the pit to replace his front wing, and Atmo is now locked in for the 2-stop. Arctic also losing position to Chris, but doesn't want to give it up that easily. He kind of has to though, and that front wing damage is really not helping him on this circuit. He's probably already running low downforce, and to then lose part of your win, it's a death sentence. As Kit is now trying to get around the Alpine. That's a beautiful move, and we didn't get to see it clearly. But Kit moves up to P13 with an awesome move on AJ. Janica is the first to get a time penalty, and there is now a bit of a gap between P10 and P9, but that doesn't matter that much. Sabi went faster than Shiz. DRS is now enabled as Sabi makes the move ahead of Shiz. Shiz fights back and there is contact. Is there also damage? Doesn't look like it, but Shiz is able to make the position back. Sabi is right on her rear window, and this fight for the lead has invited Helenen and Cassell back into it as well. But these two are really fighting for it. Of course they are, because with Fontenau being down in P6, the championship fight is really under threat here. Both Rebels are also running up in the points. Awesome to see. Naked Champ is fighting for what he can after that unfortunate incident last week in Singapore. Sabi has had to back a bit off. Dirty air is harsh air. It doesn't help that tire wear is very bad already, and being stuck right behind another car will only damage your tires more. Razumu is doing it pretty good. Font ran wide. Not what you want to see. You can see the pressure. He wants to make the pass, because again, the dirty air is really not something you want to be in on this circuit, as the rear wing opens. Yeah, rear wing opens bit a ways on the straight, but that doesn't matter too much. As we look further down, Chris has the DRS. We have a car round. It's Helenen. Oh no. Helenen was doing so well in 3rd place, and he has now spun, and his tires are going to overheat at some point now. And this really is not helping his chances. He's back down in P9. This has given Sabi and Shiz some breathing space, but the two are still fighting hard against each other. As Shiz has gotten a bit of a gap, but that might be Sabi backing off a bit. So he can preserve his tires for later in the race. The Red Bulls have switched position, with Janica now ahead of T-Pop. Font is looking to put pressure as Sabi has a track extended and gotten a time penalty, and this takes pressure off Shiz, who can now fight even harder for that win. But like Max Verstappen, she pushes really hard to also win on track, as Prasimo is under heavy pressure. Fontenau goes around the outside. Outside turns into inside. Is Fontenau still there? Fontenau is there. Prasimo gives barely enough room, but enough room nevertheless. And Fontenau has to back out there. Amazing fighting between these two drivers. And you can see the desperation that the Spaniard is feeling here, as he gets rear-ended by Naked Champ. That must have given Naked Champ some damage. It may have also given Fontenau some damage. Fontenau gives a bit of a nudge back to the Haas behind, and I don't know what happened there. That was either a vicious move from the Haas, or Fontenau made a move that Naked Champ was not expecting, but that was a weird place for contact. And Fontenau has now lost the DRS gap to Prasimo. Is Arctic Score actually still running with the damage? He actually is. Shiz is going even faster over the last lap. Cassell is chilling for that podium place. Prasimo has a bit of breathing space, as Fontenau is now put under pressure again from Naked Champ. He does the same again outside, but this time he isn't on onside, so outside doesn't turn into inside. And the Haas has now made the move cleanly around the Ferrari. And Fontenau is now back in P6, and he needs to calm down, collect himself, and try to move up the order. His championship, he will still be in the lead of the championship if they finish like this, but he can't afford to lose too much points, as the championship only has 2 more rounds, and it's only 26 points between him and Sabi. Speaking of Sabi, Sabi of course is dropping back more and more. The tires are maybe overheating, and tire conservation is everything on this circuit. As AJ is now the only one on mediums, Fontenau now gets 3-second time penalty in his desperation to get past Naked Champ, and this is just really not a good showing from him, as he is getting a bit of a gap to the Red Bulls. Is he going to pull on side under braking? He is not. And the tighter line may have invited the Ferrari in there, as Ben is in the pit lane. Is Ben needing a wing replacement then? Okay, so it's lap 7. And Ben has already pitted from hards. Maybe this is a master strategy, I don't know. Shiz has increased the gap to 8.5 seconds, as Naked Champ is closing in on Prasimo. Font is barely in the DRS, he's barely hanging on, but so is Janica, as Helenen goes really wide there. You can see the fighting going up and down the field. Everyone is vying for position here. And what it will bring, we do not know yet, as Depop now slots in behind Helenen. Helenen has made up a place again. Fonter now is under pressure from Janica. Janica makes the move. Font tries to cut back to the inside, but it doesn't really work. As Janica spins and he takes Font with him. Oh! Font's day goes from bad to worse. And there is front wing damage on that Ferrari. Oh, Janica's car looks pretty fine. But Janica was hit on the side spot. So there may be underlying damage there. Lot of pressure put on the Red Bull driver. And he slipped, and Font was too close to avoid it. Really, really unfortunate, but nothing you can do about it. Best you can do now is box repair that front wing and try to go for the two-stop strat, which may also be the fastest strat at the moment. T-Pop also got a penalty in the meantime for track extending. Any other fights going on across the grid? No, it's just T-Pop versus Helenen. As Font now does continue on with the damage, he wants to make it a one-stop, which I can understand. It might be just slight front-end damage, even though the end plate is missing. As Depop is only 7/10 back from Helenen, but the dirty air can be really harsh in this part of the circuit now. As is actually Naked Champ? No, Naked Champ is still not. Not really close, but close enough really. Depop is gaining a bit through this sector. Tiny bit. Everyone is trying to stay out of the dirty air because, again, tire conversation is key. This will not be a battle fought out on track as much as it will be fought out in the tire strategy and keeping your tires alive for as long as you possibly can. As Arctic has actually pitted for medium, so Arctic is also on that two-stop strategy. As T-Pop is closing, he's closing. Kit has a 3-second time penalty. T-Pop hasn't closed enough to go for a move there. Sabi is dropping more and more. I have actually no idea how long the tires can go in terms of hards, but I think the first pit stops for hards will be around lap 17, maybe 16, and the mediums will be around lap 13 to 15. So in a few laps time we should be seeing AJ diving into the pit lane for a new set of rubber. T-Pop is really on Helenen now. He has found his rhythm and he is using that to push towards the Williams and try to get that position with the DRS, which will open on this straight. The gap is just 0.5 of a second. This is going to be for 6th place, but no matter, even so, it doesn't bode well for Helenen. That consistency he had, even though he's fighting back around the outside, the Red Bull doesn't really leave space for him. Still not, there may be a bit of contact, the Red Bull is still ahead. Helenen goes off track, needs to give up that position. And Debop is now ahead of Helenen, but there was really, really harsh fighting between these two drivers. And Debop is now going to pull away because Debop was just faster than Helenen there. And Helenen is just going to take it easy. He knows he can't fight for the championship anymore. He doesn't have to take risks. He can just keep the tires cool, let the tires come back to him, and make the most of his tire strategy here. Because if he can go longer on the hards, he can push harder on mediums. As that was actually the only battle going on. The battle may be going on as he will have DRS, but Debop has put almost a second in that one lap. So I doubt Helenen will actually be able to catch up to the Red Bull, as Janica has gotten back past the Ferrari of Font. Font now may actually be feeling that front wing damage, but at this point he can't pit. If he pits now, he has to commit to a 2-stop, and that's not his plan. So he has decided to take the damage with him until his pit stop, fix it then. And Janica seems to have gotten off without damage at all, so good to see at least one of the cars got out without a scratch, but just unfortunate damage. It isn't unfortunate for Chris though, who is looking to gain double his points tally this race, from 1 point for 10th to 2 points for 9th. But I honestly think after that, most of the fights are done. Edmo has overtaken Ben. Ben is now in last, so that's not really a battle. As we actually have the first real pit stop. 12 laps, Naked Champs pits for... Are those mediums? No, those are hards. No, they are mediums. Helenen also comes in also for a fresh set of medium tires. And these guys are going for the 2-stop. They feel like they will lose too much time not pitting. Arctic now also gets 3 seconds. But yeah, they felt they would lose too much time if they went for the 1-stop. And have decided to push hard on 2 sets of mediums now. Chris is really getting held up there. Fontenau obviously cannot carry the speed through the corners anymore. Champ has already caught up to AJ. AJ is of course on way all the mediums. And he's actually keeping his own really well against Naked Champ, who is on very fresh mediums. And Naked is just going to lose quite some time here against AJ. But he pulls alongside, he pulls ahead. And AJ on those older tires cannot hold it. And will have to relinquish that position. Chris is right up front and now he locks up a bit. But he should be able to overtake with DRS. And then pull away from Fontenau. As he gets alongside, dives to the inside, outside. Fontenau positions himself really well, runs a bit wide. Chris wasn't alongside, so Font retains the position. And the fight continues on for another lap. Meanwhile, Arctic Score has got up back to Kednami. Kednami is going to lose this position eventually because Arctic has already pitted. Arctic is on very fresh tires. AJ is going to lose the position to Helenen eventually. Bisono gets a 3-second time penalty. Really is going to be the race of penalties here. As Font has actually increased the gap over Chris. So I don't know if Font is now just pushing or if Chris is suffering under the dirty air. But Naked Champ has now joined the party on those fresh mediums. As Chris will have the DRS again, but so will Naked Champ. Naked Champ actually goes fastest of everyone. Chris this time manages to pull on side, goes deep again, nearly gets rear-ended there. And Naked Champ actually goes for the move and overtakes Chris. Not the move I expected that will be made there. Very opportunistic from the Haas. But opportunistic doesn't mean dangerous. That one was a bit dangerous. Opportunistic as well, more contact made, and yeah. That was just too much risk taken by Naked. Naked just barges his way through, and you can't do that. Even if you're on newer tires, you can't just barge your way through. And he has shot himself in the foot because he will have to pit again with new damage. Fonte now, if his rear end wasn't destroyed already, it is now. As Shiz goes for softs. This is an interesting development. Shiz switches to softs, comes out ahead of Janica. Sabi gets out behind Janica, but there are softs on that Aston Martin. Not something I expected to see, as now Font comes in. No win replacement, a win replacement for Naked Champ. This is fully his own fault. In my eyes, fully deserved for hitting Font out of the way. You don't do that. AJ had already pitted, comes out ahead of Font. Font comes out ahead of Atmo, but Atmo is still yet to pit after that first lap. Naked Champ immediately gets a penalty and he retires. He just didn't stare, he was just done. Probably because he got put on softs, even though the softs are looking to work for Shiz. Just going to hop into the chat real quick to see. And Naked is really pissed at Font. So even though the fights are in the pit lane, there is no shortage of drama. As Font is going to overtake AJ anyway, so I can't call this an on-track fight, sadly. Were there actually Kitnami and Atmo? Yeah, there might be a bit of a battle going on between those. Yeah, Shiz on those softs is obviously going to be really fast, but will it be fast enough to pull a gap a bit again against Sabi? Actually, I think Nami may actually pull away here on on mediums. We'll see about that. Ben is meanwhile. Oh wait, that's Sabi. He slapped. Wait, what's this? Janica hasn't pitted yet. He's going for the one stop definitely, and he's being hunted by Cassell. And he's having trouble with staying on track. Surely he's going into the pit this lap. Yeah, he is. Does he slow down? He does. He does. No problems there. Shiz is not pulling the gap. There are multiple people going for softs. Arctic also gets a penalty. It's just penalty galore. I don't understand the strategy though. Softs clearly are not good enough. So Shiz may have just thrown the win away. But why go for softs in the first place? Because this is just going to lose him a lot of positions and the race win. Is there a rule I missed about? No, as my phone nearly fell, that wasn't good. I still don't understand it, to be honest, but no, well. Bissell and Presimo are looking really good for a double podium here. Even though Helenen isn't that close, T-Bob is close to Helenen though. And Shiz behind that. Yeah, Shiz is now having to make up a lot of time. Doubt he can do it as now Helenen dives into the pits. I swear, if Helenen puts on softs, I'm probably going to scream. Okay, he goes for mediums. Thank God my sanity. So the only one who's still out on softs is Janica. I don't think Janica is going on the end to the end on those softs. AJ is still fighting Font. AJ has overtaken Font. Shiz is really close to Debop. Lovely camera angle there. Is that going to be an overtake? No, he wasn't alongside. He is actually alongside now and he makes the overtake. What a move. Shiz may not be a man, but Shiz has balls. Holy damn. And this may also ruin the double podium dream. As Kenami retires in the pit lane. That's how you're supposed to retire the car. Take notes, Naked Champ. Instead of fully pushing it into the wall, retire on in the pit lane. But yes, Shiz is going to ruin the double podium dreams of Racing Bulls. Because Shiz is going to overtake Brasimu. Fontenau is now in the pit lane. Looks like fresh new mediums. And a new front wing. I find this strategy really confusing. It may be because I'm not racing myself, but I do not understand the strategy. Shiz has actually overtaken Brasimu. Sabi gets another time penalty. But honestly, I think this is most likely going to be the finish in order. Sabi, Cassell, Shiz. I think Brasimu may be put under pressure by T-Bob. But I think this is the only position change. Brasimu losing out to T-Bob. Fon's now not a penalty. Fon's race was over. This is a horrible weekend for Ferrari. And I think, yeah, Sauber is going to overtake Ferrari in the constructors stand-ins after this result. Damn, there goes my constructors. Fuck. I mean, I wouldn't have deserved the championship anyway, but Fon's one-man dream is falling apart, and all it costed was one race. Quite sad, really. Funniest part is he is faster than Sabi, but he just got messed up after messed up. But yeah, this is basically the finishing order. I don't think anything is going to change in this. Since tire doesn't matter, penalties. Shiz and Prasimo may swap. Edmo and Font will swap. Ben has retired in the pit lane. This race, I cannot put it in any other way. It has been a disaster, honestly. Honestly, if Font pulls that gap back from Edmo and stays in 11th, props to him. Prasimo may also still make the double podium through for Racing Boost, and that's also, if he can do that, that's also very impressive. I can't make this any more interesting than this, really. There won't be any more fighting, there won't be any more pit stops. Prasimo has lost the gap to Shiz, so Shiz will stay in third. So it will be Sabi. Gap is still big enough. Sabi, Cassell, Shiz, Prasimo, Debob, Jenica, Helenen, Chris, AJ, and Arctic for the podium. And then Font and Edmo will swap positions, but that's outside of the points finishes. I just have to say, between Singapore and this race, the driver standards need to improve. And it's not just one driver, it's been Singapore, the one after the other driver was punted into the wall. Here we've seen several drivers colliding and then one of them just slamming it into the wall at turn 1. I know this track can be tough. I know the race isn't as exciting or as good for everyone, but you can't just slam each other off the track or ram into each other like that. Shiz gets 3 seconds more. This puts Prasimo actually back. So Prasimo is now going to push to get to not lose 5/10 within 2 laps. That's basically his goal now. But yeah, I've not enjoyed this race as much. And the problem isn't that there isn't enough fighting. The problem is, surprisingly, with how little cars have been close to each other, people have just been too aggressive. Prasimo is now back on the edge. Actually going to swap back the tires. Chess is of course on fresher tires. T-Bob is now coming back a bit. As Sabi is going to start final lap in a second there. Actually, even if T-Bob overtakes Prasimo, there is a penalty, so literally Prasimo is only fighting with Chess. Yellow flags, why were the yellow flags? No idea why. But yeah, Sabi finishes Sector 1 for the final time this race. What happened with Cassell? Oh, Cassell disconnected. Now, what has happened to Cassell? Cassell was doing so good in second. What has happened to Cassell? As Sabi has won. Prasimo will get third. But first, Shiz will get second. Good drive from him. Sabi has deserved the win. Prasimo gets third. T-Bob will get fourth. We then have Janica across the line next in P5. Cassell has dropped from second to sixth. Then we have Helenen in seventh. Actually, Helenen in sixth because Cassell's time penalty. Chris is P8. AJ runs off track even more. Gets P9. Arctic gets P10. Yeah, I would take a P4 after that start as well, mate. Nice job. And Fontenau is the last one to finish P9. But Jesus, fuck. This race, I don't know if it was just because it was horrendous for the drivers, but Sabi has deserved the win. Oh, Shiz didn't plan for the softs, but the engineer made it. And Cassell had ran out of fuel. That's wow. Oh, that's oh. Oh my god. So Cassell has actually ran out of fuel from second, which honestly I couldn't think about a more painful way to lose a podium. Yeah, Shiz got really lucky with that second place. But yeah, this was Qatar. Sadly, I won't be here for commentary for this season. I'll be at my parents for the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I'll try to find another commentator because the title will go down to it. And hopefully we will find a commentator. But this was it from me. I wish everyone a nice night. And goodbye.